All right, today we're talking about a pretty massive shift in how we actually get work done. And look, this isn't just about some new app. We're talking about a completely different way to think about your workspace. And it's all powered by AI. Let's get into it.
So let me just ask you something. Think about your workday right now. How many different apps and tabs do you have open just to do your job? Is it 5, 10, 20? You've got your chat app over here, your project list over there, your docs somewhere else. It's just this constant digital shuffle, right?
Well, believe it or not, there's actually a name for that chaos. It's called work sprawl. It's that feeling you get when you're bouncing between all those tools, completely losing your train of thought, and just wasting a ton of energy trying to find what you need to do your actual job. In the cost of that sprawl, it's just staggering. According to ClickUp's data, a whopping 60% of our time at work is lost just to context switching. That's what we call the work about work. Think about that. More than half your day isn't spent creating or solving problems. It's spent just managing the chaos. Okay, so how in the world do you fight back against that? Well, the whole solution starts with building a really solid foundation. It's all about creating one single central place for everything. A single source of truth that finally brings some order to all that chaos. The core idea here is to stop using dozens of different tools that don't talk to each other and bring everything into one unified hub. Just imagine one place where your tasks, your conversations, your project docs, and all your deadlines live together. They're all speaking the same language. This completely gets rid of that need to constantly jump between apps. And here's how that structure actually works. It's really simple and it's built to scale. So at the very top, you have your workspace. That's your whole company. Then inside that, you create spaces for your departments, like marketing or engineering. Inside those are folders for all your specific projects. And then finally, you have lists, which hold all the individual tasks. But here's a really great piece of advice from someone who's actually done this. Ravi Abuvala. He says, don't go insane with the setup. The goal isn't to build some ridiculously complex system right away. He points out that his own company, which is a multiple 8-figure business, only uses 4 main spaces. You have to start simple, because a tool is totally useless if it's too complicated to use. Okay, so once you have that solid structure in place, you can add the real magic, the true game changer, a layer of intelligence that understands everything that's going on. This is where you get a unified AI, like a central brain for your entire team. And this is a really crucial point. We are not talking about just another standalone AI tool that you add to your long list of apps. No way. The real power comes from an AI that is built into your workspace. Because it lives where your work lives, it has the full context of your projects, your team, and what you're trying to achieve. So what's the difference in the real world? Well, on the left, you see the old way. Standalone AIs are helpful, sure, but they're disconnected. You might get a good summary, but then you're right back to switching apps and manually creating all the tasks yourself. On the right, that's the integrated approach. Because the AI already understands your project structure, it can turn a document directly into a fully structured plan, instantly, all in one place. So what makes this AI brain so smart? Well, it really comes down to 3 things. First, it has full context awareness. It knows who's working on what and what depends on what. Second, you have universal access to the best models out there, like ChatGPT or Claude, right inside your workflow. And third, it has connected knowledge, so it can search for info not just in your workspace, but across all your other tools, like Google Drive or Slack. Okay, so that's the what. Now let's get to the fun part. What can this AI actually do for your team? How does it start to put your day-to-day workflows on autopilot? The secret here is something called specialized AI agents. You can think of them like these tireless digital assistants that are each trained for a really specific job. They're designed to take over all that tedious, repetitive, boring stuff that just drains your team's energy, so they can focus on the work that actually matters. Let's take a quick look at how this works for a marketing team, where just so many hours are lost translating ideas into actual plans. So, for instance, a brief agent can take your raw meeting notes and instantly turn them into a perfectly structured campaign brief. Then, a content agent can take that brief and start drafting promotional copy. And, maybe most importantly, the system can automatically handle the approval process to make sure your launches actually stay on track. Or what about product development? That's a world filled with complex requirements and super tight deadlines. Well, here, a triage agent can automatically sort through all the incoming bug reports and prioritize them by severity. A PRD agent could literally turn a manager's voice notes into a formal product requirements doc. The system can even analyze everyone's workload to give you a pretty accurate forecast of when things will actually be delivered.
And finally, for a sales team where, let's be honest, speed and follow-up are absolutely everything. An AI agent can listen to call transcripts and automatically create the follow-up tasks. It can be proactive and flag any deals that seem to be stalled and even suggest what to do next. And maybe best of all, it can prioritize the whole pipeline based on revenue impact so your team is always focused on the biggest fish. So yeah, these individual automations are incredibly powerful, but what happens when an entire company starts working this way? What's the real big picture payoff?
And look, this isn't just a theory. There's third-party research, like a big report from Forrester, that's actually started to measure the results. And the numbers, they're pretty dramatic. The report found that organizations that use this kind of integrated approach saw an average return on their investment of 384% over 3 years. I mean, that is a massive gain in efficiency, all unlocked just by bringing tools together. And what does that look like in terms of time? Well, the same study found that companies saved, on average, over 92,000 hours by cutting down on all that manual work. Just take a second and think about what your team could do with that much time back. Which really brings us to our final thought. As you look at how your own team works, just ask yourself this one simple but really powerful question. Is your team spending its time doing valuable work, or are they just managing the work about work? The answer to that, well, it might just change everything.